That's crazy.
That was
I get a hell yeah.
That was the coolest.
Like, oh my God.
That's crazy.
In my brain, I always go like, which one of these is the coolest ranked? And that is the coolest one that they've done together.
Carter Harrell and Cameron Kennedy going off once again for an In Review intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Kind of Funny's In Review, our weekly show where we rank, review, and recap different movie franchises. And we're going so back, baby. We're starting with Tron. We're going all the way to Tron Legacy. And then after that, Tron Ares in a theater near you very soon. Whoa.
Thank you, Lion Peeler, first-time subscriber. Look at that.
Thank
the
you very
first time
much.
using Prime. Wow.
Very cool. Very cool. We appreciate you out there. Hey, I'm Tim Geddes. This is Andy Cortez.
Hello.
And that is Nick Scarpino.
Hello.
And for the next 3
fellow
weeks,
programs.
we will be going all the way in to Tron, the grid, and talking all about what we like, what we don't like. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of both of those things. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some more than others. I'm not so sure, but I am very excited to talk to this group of people here. And it's going to be a good time. So, yeah, next 3 weeks, strap in. It's Tronapalooza, baby. You can get In Review for free with ads without the exclusive content on YouTube and podcast services around the globe. But if you want to go the extra mile, the Kind of Funny membership gets you the show's ad-free and a daily exclusive Greg Way. Today, we're brought to you by Shady Rays and Factor. Our Patreon producers are James Hastings, Carl Jacobs, and Omega Buster. We appreciate you so very, very much. But today, I want to talk about Tron. Just Tron.
Just Tron.
Tron. Released on July 9th, 1982, Tron was one of cinema's earliest films to use extensive computer-generated imagery, a.k.a. CGI.
Wow.
Everybody. Tron, the video game, came out August 1982, so a month after. These were collaboration releases here.
They were doing it before everybody else.
Exactly, and that was kind of the whole idea. This movie was made because of their love of the game Pong. And they're like, but what if we were in Pong? And then what if we made a movie about that? And what if we also made our own game? And what if that game was actually really fucking legit? The game was a major success with approximately 10,000 arcade cabinets sold, which was huge for the time. And it was awarded Coin-Operated Game of the Year by Electronic Games, which was the premier kind of video game outlet back then. So yeah, Tron popping off. The runtime of this one was 1 hour and 36 minutes, which I loved seeing. I loved seeing that going into this movie. Didn't feel that way.
It did not feel that way, Tim. Didn't feel that way. Took a lot longer for me.
Did you guys ever play the original Tron arcade game?
Oh yeah, I mean,
No.
dozens of times. There was one at IGN.
Was there really? Oh, that was.
yeah.
That's right. It just was always so hard.
Very,
It was
very
a
hard
game.
Yeah, multiple. It was like a mini game collection.
Yeah,
almost
pretty
a
much.
fusion frenzy.
Wow.
But there was the light cycle. There was a little like tank battle zone. Most of the things you saw in the movie, like those were the actual different games in Tron.
I just remember it coming, I think, originally to like Atari. And there was a Tron Atari game that I used to play too at my uncle's house.
Yeah, I don't know. I only played the arcade one. Yeah. This one was directed by Steven M. Lisberger, an American film director, producer, and screenwriter, best known for writing and directing the 1982 film Tron. He and his business partner, Donald Kushner, conceived and produced a 90-minute animated film, Animal Olympics, for NBC's coverage of the Olympics. They were really into pushing animation forward and trying a bunch of different things technically. And Nick, like you went down a rabbit hole of trying to figure out behind-the-scenes Tron.
Yeah,
stuff.
I ended up watching pretty much all of the behind-the-scenes stuff that was available on the DVD. I assume Blu-ray now. And it's very, very fascinating.
Actually, that is a fascinating thing to bring up. Less so for this movie, more so for the next one. But this is, as of 2 weeks ago, Tron is finally available in 4K. But more importantly, HDR, Dolby Vision, all that stuff. So
that would be worth watching.
Yes,
probably.
very excited
because the movie is very a visual feast, I guess, for 1982.
I mean, I could have sworn that this movie looked way sharper and cleaner than I expected it to look. Like on Prime Video is where I ended up renting it, and I was just expecting a lot of those visuals to. I guess while watching this, I was like, oh, did this kind of get some sort of remaster treatment that when you remember the font and the wording, the lettering coming up in the Alien movie, and I was like, why did that look so much sharper than I expected? And they were like, oh, it's because they kind of went back and did stuff.
Yeah.
These visuals looked like way sharper than I expected. I don't know if that's just me.
I don't think that they. Actually, I'm pretty confident that they didn't go back and change any of that stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Amazon version is using the updated version that just
got to be.
out.
Yeah, it's UHD. Yeah.
Probably. And they had source material to work off of, right? Because I think when they were doing like the photographic process of this, they had a lot of like when they were doing rotoscoping and stuff, they were shooting it on massive plates. So I imagine that some of that stuff is still around. That could be used in the archives. But yeah, so the story of this is very interesting. These guys are animators, and they had come up with this little character that was an electronic guy, and they were really into sort of drawing characters that were cool and like backlit. They called the process, I don't know if Andy, this is a term you're familiar with or not, but it's like backlight drawing, which basically means like if you imagine a subject that just has the backlight, you're just drawing the outline of the silhouette that the light would be hitting. So no key light, no
an
fill
old
light.
rotoscope.
Basically, what's that?
Like an old school style of rotoscoping?
No, more like this. I mean, Kevin, if you can, I should have sent it to you. I apologize. If you can Google like original Tron drawing backlight, I'd see if that comes up. It's just a character that basically looks like it only had backlight on it.
Okay.
And it's cool, and it makes it look very electronic, and so they called him
a cool electronic character. What should we call him?
They were like, they kept calling him the electronic character, and eventually they were just like, let's just call him Tron.
Sick.
Yeah.
And that's where that comes from. And so they had done a couple, I'll try to find one for you later. It's fine. It's not one. They had done like a short about this, and then apparently it was cool. So they did like a 30-second radio spot for a local radio station that was like Tron, KRWP, and it was like Tron doing all sorts of cool stuff, and it was like that 80s style, like hyper cool electronic, but like also like heavy metal style kind of thing. And when they were interviewing the guy, his partner, he was like, yeah, it'd be like if me and Tim were partners, and like Tim came up with this and sold it to the radio station. He's like, I'm pretty sure he sold it to multiple local radio stations across the country, and they just didn't know.
That's awesome.
But they were fascinated with the idea of this character and being in like this electric world and stuff like that. And that was sort of the origins of Tron, the character. It looks nothing like what happened here, because I don't know if you guys know the backstory of the actual person that designed the costumes for Tron, but it's a graphic novelist or graphic artist named Mobius. I don't know if you guys are familiar. This is it. Yeah. So check this out. This is awesome. So that's what it originally looked like, sort of line drawings.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And mostly just silhouettes, but they called it this is called backlight style or backlight drawings. So you can kind of see what he looks like. And this was the original promo that had popped up. And I think if you let it play out, it'll actually say like whatever the radio station was. This is from the behind the scenes stuff. Oh no, this must have just been the tech demo for it. But it's really, really cool. And they were basically like, we just want to make a whole movie like about this. And Disney at the time was not known for motion, like for live action stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was very, very interesting that they decided to integrate or to get this into this. But as they started bringing designers on, one of the designers they brought on was Mobius. And Mobius is one of those guys that like, the more and more I learn about him, the more I'm like, he might actually be one of the most important figures in like animation and design that has ever lived. And if you don't remember the touchstone for him, we've talked about him before when we talked about Dune. Because originally he was brought on to do the original Dune, Jodorowsky's Dune.
Interesting.
And if you watch that documentary, he was the first guy that Jodorowsky went to, because he is a guy that like, I went down a rabbit hole with him too. That is like, has influenced both American animation and manga. So like there's a lot, if you look at the time that he came on and you look at the manga before and after that, there's multiple Japanese artists who are like, this is the guy. This guy, like the guy that made Akira was like, I studied Mobius and all of his designs and all of his stuff. And that like just put me on a whole different path. And so they got him to do some of the character designs and some of the ship designs and stuff like that, along with another designer named Sid Mead. But you can see that's why the costumes alone look very anime. They look very future, like, they're kind of almost a different style than the rest of the movie, and it's because of Mobius.
That's very interesting. One thing that I want to know, but I didn't have time to look into, is the concept of, you said it earlier, like the 80s digital like vibe. Like we just think 80s aesthetic. Like we now know neon grid.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that is Tron? Like how much like the concept of the grid, the idea of even like seeing like this is what the inside of a computer world looks like. Like it's kind of crazy seeing so many visuals in this that I'm like, was this the origin of it, or like
yes
it's
and
just
no.
continuing?
Some people would say that some of the origin for it was like some of the stuff that like Cameron had done as well, because Cameron's sort of credited for doing like the neo-noir style, and that's based on that's based on the arcade and the bar that they go to in Terminator. But I would also say that like Flynn's Arcade is another example of one of the first times you see that. When you walk into Flynn, everything is neon. And you'll notice that a lot of them are backlit by a neon color that's either red or blue, and that's going to be basically mirrored later as they go into the computer. I would actually say that like we're going to obviously talk about the visuals, and we're going to talk about them in there's probably a lot of pros and cons that are going to come out of our mouth, but everything that's shot in live action in this movie is actually very well shot.
Very
beautifully
cool.
shot.
Oh, yeah.
Including the Dillinger desk, which I think is the coolest set piece they have.
Sick. I mean,
Where,
even
like,
The Office is like,
all that shit's
some of
cool.
the shots they have, it feels this sounds stupid. It feels like a movie in a way that like I was a little surprised by, because I haven't seen this since I was very little and had a very different take on it.
All I kept thinking was, we got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TV. What song is that?
It's
Because the visuals reminded me so much of that music video.
I want my MTV.
Like that style of what felt like proto CG of just, hey, we found out how to get a 3D model in a 3D space and record it, and it's stunning to us. So let's try to do whatever we can with it. It just reminded me of that whole music video that was always on. That music video was always right before one of the Rush music videos, because my dad would leave the VCR recording overnight to record a Rush music video.
Of course.
So he would have like 4 hours of just like MTV at night.
That's so good.
That's the best.
You would
MTV.
set the timer on the
Dude,
VCR.
I go down freaking rabbit holes when I'm just like, I have nothing else to do. It's like 11 p.m. just like playing games on Switch. I'll just throw up on YouTube like people that have that footage of just like MTV in 2001.
Yeah.
And it's just like a block of just whatever they played and like
So
the
cool.
commercials and stuff. It's good vibes.
This movie, though, in that it's an interesting point that you bring up. This movie very much feels like a tech demo
And
that
that's
they
it.
just made into an
Totally.
hour and a half long movie.
And I think in that sense, it's a major success, right? Like to see the influence of what came from this, and also the arcade game being as good as it was and like changing things.
It is, but it's also a bittersweet success because the movie could have been actually good.
Absolutely.
Tron is one of those movies that I just, every time I watch it, I want it to be better. I just want to love this movie. And I just get 14 minutes in and I'm bored out of my mind.
So are you giving your top level thoughts right now? We're getting Nick's top level.
So
thoughts.
going back to the facts and stuff here, is the directing stuff. There's some funny things here. Looking,
I don't know if
this
you've been
director.
noticing. I've been struggling really hard trying to tie this just the little strings on my joggers.
I didn't know what you were doing down there and I didn't want to ask.
Man, I've been struggling
I
with
was
this
just,
for
I
so
just
long.
really
into
talked through
Tron.
it. I just kept locking eyes with Tim and I'm like, I don't know what Andy's doing.
Every
down
time
there.
I try to like tie the knot, I lose the string. It's pissing me off.
Just let it
man.
go, dude.
Looking through the director's Wikipedia, there was a couple highlights that I just wanted to call out. Because, directed Tron in 1982. His film Hot Pursuit in 1987 features Ben Stiller's first speaking role.
Wow.
That's
great.
fun. And then in 2007, it was announced that he and Jessica Chobot were working together on a film called Soul Code, though it was never produced. And just all of that, I'm just like, wow, Jessica Chobot gets like very, very prominent placement in the Tron director's
Fascinating.
Wikipedia.
Jobat.
Kind of cool.
She was a Mass Effect.
And she Mass Effect 3, that's
Yeah.
right. Eventually, Disney greenlit Tron Legacy, the sequel to this that was released in 2010, with the director of this one serving as producer. The film was a success at the box office and was followed by a television series, Tron Uprising, which I need to let you guys know I did watch every single episode of.
Is that not the video game?
No, it was, I think it's on Netflix.
It was a Disney
right now.
XD.
It's on Disney.
I'm talking about the video game that Biffle worked on.
No, that's
I played a decent amount of it. I could have sworn that was the video game. Shit,
No.
maybe not. Yeah, I'm way off on that.
oh man, what was that called? Someone in the chat's gonna get that. But
It's something Rising, I swear.
then we got the music was by Wendy Carlos, American
Catalyst.
musician. Catalyst. That's right. That's
There's
right.
no Rising in there. Catalyst. Thank you, Ernie.
Wendy Carlos, known for electronic music and film scores. She also composed the 2 Stanley Kubrick films, Clockwork Orange and The Shining.
If you've never heard the soundtrack to A Clockwork Orange. It's amazing.
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely,
Amazing.
And hey, so was the soundtrack to this.
Yeah, I watched a couple reviews. People were like, the soundtrack of this is terrible. I was like, what the fuck are you talking
So what's
about?
interesting is like this is one of the first times that they actually mixed the synth stuff with a full-on orchestra, and Disney insisted on pushing the orchestra stuff because Wendy was just going to go straight synth. But the directors of this gave a lot of actual specific direction for the score to like relate to key moments in the film, and because of it being this like live action but intense animation on top of it and intense like tech systems they had to play with, they're like, we're going to make sure that this is as much of like a music video as it is a movie. And because of that, like the music had to have like very specific things happen at specific times. So
Kevin, can you look up real quick? Just give me some shots of Tron Uprising. I want to see what this TV show looked like.
Think of Ruby, but like with a Disney budget. It was like, it's one of those first
CG,
one of the early, I would say, CG, like
full CG,
post Afro Samurai, but like, yeah, but it has the aesthetics of Tron Legacy. So
did it
it's
look
cool?
Did it look like Reboot?
But like it's 2000, it's post Legacy, so like it.
Oh shit! Okay,
Yeah.
I thought this was much older.
No,
Okay.
no. This was like
Gotcha.
It took place in between Tron 1 and Legacy.
I see.
And like, I'm gonna be real, it's not the best thing in the world, but like I think it has a way more coherent story than either of the movies so far. And I just wanted to be in the world more, and it delivered that. The budget of this was $17 million, and the box office was $50 million. This actually was a success in Disney's eyes. Cult classic and not a success in the way that they could have wanted. And it could have been a bigger success, but they made a key blunder. Tron was originally meant to be released during the Christmas season of 1982, but when chairman of the Disney board, Card Walker, found out that the release date of Don Bluth's film, The Secret of Nim, was in early July, he rushed this to a summer release to be able to compete and kind of do some fucking bullshit to try to take him down, because there was the beef with Don Bluth's production company and Disney. And so doing that ended up being a very, very bad idea, because while they did that to compete with Secret of Nim, that of course got fucking destroyed. Shout out to Secret of Nim. It's awesome.
Secret of Nim. No, fuck that movie.
It is fucked up.
Because I was like, I remember watching that when I was a kid, being like, why is somebody letting me watch
so
this
messed
movie?
up, dude. It's so messed up.
It's terrifying.
We gotta watch
fuck
it one
that
day.
movie, and fuck The Dark Crystal. Fuck both those movies.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
But Andy, it ended up not just competing with those. There were some surprise combatants that they ended up having to face off against. Tron ended up going up and losing against films like E.T., Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan,
That's tough.
Blade Runner, and Poltergeist.
Oh man, they were looking at the wrong opponents.
They really could not have screwed that up more.
They chose the wrong battle.
I don't know if you guys are probably way too young to remember E.T. I don't know if you even have a touchstone for it.
Oh yeah,
of course.
But it was it. It just took over, man. It was incredible. And not only that, but the fact that Poltergeist, also a Steven Spielberg joint produced, not directed.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then you guys don't know this yet because you've probably never seen it, but Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is wildly heralded as the best Star Trek movie ever freaking made.
So Tron,
it is the Star Trek movie that people think of that revitalized Star Trek. So this was just a massive screw up on their part. Actually, not a screw up. I would have put it up against them too, thinking that this was going to be huge. I think it just didn't resonate with people.
Yeah, but it did though. It did well. Like they saw it as a success. It's just, again, not relative to the other successes they had. Tron received nominations for Best Costume Design and Best Sound at the Academy Awards. However, it was disqualified from Best Visual Effects because at the time, the Academy felt that using computer animation was, quote, cheating.
Isn't that insane? and that really gets into
hilarious.
That gets into sort of, I don't want to interrupt you, but that gets into the heart of why Tron is so incredibly important. That's why it was so innovative and so ahead of the time. It was so ahead of the time that it used technology that the Academy thought was cheating. And now there is not a single movie that gets nominated for special effects that doesn't involve computer generated images. It just doesn't. And this was one of the movies that showed people how to do that.
Insane. Andy, let's start with you. What did you think of Tron? Have you seen this before? What's your kind of history with the franchise?
I thought I had seen it for some reason, and I straight up had not. And I think I was only thinking of maybe clips that Tron Legacy references. I don't. Maybe there were throwback. I just thought, I've seen Tron before, and I just, while watching it, going, oh, I don't remember any of this, and this plot and this story and everything happening in this is something I've never experienced. So I ended up I had never seen it before, and watched it the other day. And as far as my history with Tron, I've seen Legacy before, just once, and that may as well just be memory hold because that was 10 years ago or whatever, 10 plus years ago, and that's
15 years ago.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Aside from Giorgio Moroder and listening to the Daft Punk soundtrack and and that getting me into like listening to Daft Punk, that's kind of the only touchstone I have to Tron.
Yeah.
Watched this, didn't like it, didn't love it, didn't really have a good time with this movie at all. I think the movie starts off super promising, and I was like, oh shit, we might have ourselves a little movie. Like this is gonna be a real one. And then I was really disappointed about what the movie was about. I was really bummed out that it was just trying to get the rights to my thing back. Like I think
in a way that is not even questionable if it makes sense. It simply doesn't.
It's just
make sense.
I don't know. I feel like I would have been way more into if what the thing they were going after was even more wacky and dumb, I'd be way more into that. But this being like, well, I made the game and he took the rights away and now he's making money and I'm not. Like I don't know, just was not compelled by that at all. I didn't care if any of them were successful. I just didn't really give a darn. And I think the acting in this is like pretty atrocious at times, except for this intro sequence that I had to stop and tell Tim about, because I think this intro sequence of the movie, and if this movie's on Disney Plus or something, go check out just that intro, because Jeff Bridges, I think, is just like so fucking good and does not belong in this movie in terms of like the quality of acting. He stands out so much because he is so good. Maybe not when he's in electronic Tron world, but when he's just being Jeff Bridges, the character, like not the character Jeff Bridges, but when he's acting IRL, he's so damn good. And it reminded me a lot of, and I had to look it up, but when we talked about Aliens, and we talked about Paul Reiser being in that movie, and his acting felt timeless. It didn't. Whenever you watch a movie from the 80s or
Andy, yesterday
early,
when you were telling me this, and you were like,
I said Alien.
You said
3.
Alien 3, and I'm like, who is he talking about?
Yeah,
God, now this makes so much more sense.
Paul Reiser in Aliens, when he was acting in the movie, I was like, he's the
perfectly cast.
He's one of the only actors in this movie that doesn't sound like an 80s actor. Mm-hmm. When everybody talks in these movies, they have similar to when we think about the transatlantic accent, and everybody talk like this, and but back then, but in the 80s, everybody sounds like an 80s actor, except for Jeff Bridges in this movie and Paul Reiser in Aliens. Mm-hmm. I just think they have such great delivery, and it was like, wow, this is awesome so far. And then everybody around them just kind of sucks, like is really, really below par, and I was not really vibing with much of what was happening. I think this movie, like, I'm probably going to get roasted for this. I think this movie sounds like shit. Like, I hated all of the audio in this movie because of them going for that highly digitized, we're going to try to emulate what all of these bits and bleeps and bloops sounds like. Like, every explosion sounded like what you would expect from an Atari's explosion, but that sucks, and I don't think that equates to a good viewing experience. Yeah. Like, I think it makes sense in the world to hear, like, a very... like very shitty explosion, but when the whole movie sounds like that, I just like it just was not pleasurable to listen to. But I think it was just super ahead of its time conceptually. Obviously, I love how, but I love the concept of this movie. I just wish the story was much better.
Yeah.
Because I just love the concept of, you are my program and I wrote you, and that's so awesome. And the programs going, oh, you're a user? No, the users wrote up. Like, all of that stuff is so cool and interesting. I just don't think the story that lined up with that concept was very interesting. But visually and all that stuff, obviously super ahead of its time and super innovative. And I just love seeing how old creative movies dealt with their creativity and the problems that they had to kind of overcome.
And create for themselves.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
Nick, what'd you think?
So therein lies the problem, right? That's not the plot of this movie. It is the overarching plot of this movie. But the actual plot of the movie is that the master control program is starting to seep outside of ENCOM and take over the Pentagon. This is a story about AI. It's a story about machines growing beyond their users. And Dillinger is now a slave to this machine because he can't stop it. except they never talk about that
At all.
after 20 minutes into the movie.
We get the setup, they go in, and then
Right?
it's just like, oh, outside is just happening.
And therein lies the big problem.
We get
with
the
this
moment
movie.
of Dillinger going, wait.
I'm
I
your
control
master.
you.
And he's like,
and that
"Way
was
to go."
it. And I was like, oh, man.
Therein lies the problem with this movie, right? Is that the photographic process was so hard and so arduous, and the concept of CG back then took so long that I don't think they could do what they would do now, which is go back after a rough cut and go, hey, we need to bake more of this story. It needs to be that, like, the gateway needs to be Flynn trying to find the evidence that he wants, but once he's inside the computer, it needs to broaden out into the story of going, holy shit, Master Control is going to control the world in a day if we don't step in and stop this. And what program can we use for that? Well, we already had Clue, which, by the way, keep that in your back pocket because that's gone, but that'll come back, right? How about Tron? This Tron program that we lost a long time ago. We got to go find Tron. Tron program is the only thing that exists outside of the architecture of the Master Control program. It can go and stop it. That was you could see that's where they should have gone with it. But by the time they realized that's where the plot should have been, they were already months into this, and they were like, we just got to get this thing out. And then moving up the timetable probably didn't help either. The biggest sin is that this movie is really, 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 really cool. And it reminds me of what it could have been, another movie where someone goes inside of a computer and like has to realize the reality in there is not the reality that they wanted to make. But we had to wait another 20 years for The Matrix to come out, right?
Straight up. I mean,
This could have been
is the thing.
The Matrix of the 80s, and it should have been that movie. But it just never was, because I don't think they realized that and this is always the same with every fucking movie. It has to service the story, and the story in this movie just falls
not serviced.
so short.
It's not serviced.
Not only that, but I watched this with my wife. I asked her if she wanted to watch it with me. She goes, I don't think I'd ever seen the original Tron. I was like, well, you're going to hate it, but just watch it with me for 20 minutes because I want to hear your opinion. And I'll never forget. Every time I watch this movie, I go, I want to love it.
Yeah.
Within 14 minutes, I'm reminded why this movie is not good. I paused at the 14-minute mark. And usually, traditionally, 14, 15 minutes into movies is where like the main catalyst happens, right? This is where we go. Yeah, exactly, right? And I paused it and I said, babe, what is this movie about? And she goes, I have no fucking idea. I don't know. I don't know if it's about this arcade owner. I don't know if it's about this company. There's a laser in this that can digitize shit, right? That's a huge thing that's happening in this, but and that should be the plot of the movie, but it's not really the plot of the movie. He just comes out of the machine. He's like, wow, man, that's crazy, right? So too many characters, too many great ideas that never really come to fruition. And really, they were like, we're going to sell this based largely on the tech. But at the same time, it's like watching any modern movie where like, it doesn't matter how good the effects are. If the story's not there, you're bored 15 minutes in. And I'm bored 15 minutes in. And then we get to the climax at the end with the sailing ship, and it's just moving so slowly. Everything is so slow that you just want it to be over. And you just think to yourself, man, I can't wait for them to use modern technology and remake this movie with a better plot. Surely that won't be boring either. We'll have to wait.
We'll have
Tim,
to see.
What did you think of Tron?
I love Tron. I don't like this movie. And I don't think
I don't think anyone likes any of the Tron properties.
The thing,
I think people just like Tron as a concept.
But the concept to me is good enough to like carry. Like, it's all about the tech and the vibes, and the tech and the vibes are fucking cool. And going back to one this old, they're a lot less cool. I think it's a novelty way more than anything. And like, I appreciate it way more than I like it. And having said that, I enjoyed watching this. And every time I watch it, I'm just like you, Nick. I want to like it more than I do. And I definitely don't. But every time I watch it, I appreciate something different about it for a different reason. I watched this for the first time after playing. My exposure to Tron for the first time was Kingdom Hearts 2. In Kingdom Hearts, you go to the different Disney worlds and you go through the plot of the movies. Kingdom Hearts 2, one of the surprise worlds in it at the time, or at least I didn't know about it until I was playing the game, is you go into Tron. I'm like, this is fucking cool. And you go through the entire plot of the movie, and Donald and Goofy are there. And it was like... I was in. I'm like, oh man, I'm definitely very, very excited to rent this movie and check it out. And I rented it and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, all right, cool. I get it. Old movie's old. And, you know, I was 14, 15 at the time. And it was like, this ain't for me. Mm-hmm. And then junior year of high school, I took a computer science class. And our final was to program the Tron Light Cycle game. And that inherently is cool as fuck. Mm-hmm. And I was so proud of myself. I did that shit. And then afterwards, we kind of like watched the movie as like our reward for doing the finals or whatever. And like all of us were like, all right, the light cycle scene was awesome. The rest of this movie sucks ass.
Yeah.
And then it was a couple years later, like as the Comic-Con hype and Tron Legacy's coming, Daft Punk announced all that stuff. It was like, oh, this is good. There's no way that this is bad. This is gonna be the best thing ever. And so there was that the hype going into it all. But looking at this movie and rewatching it now, it is so funny. Where there's not even a good movie in here. It's just
There's
it is
no way
a
to make
tech
a good
demo
yeah.
turned into a feature length film. And there's a lot of really cool things, and a lot of them kind of add up to being cool overall. It's just not good. And I think that is acceptable sometimes. Like, and it's just the reality of things of just like, there's a lot of value to Tron, even if the movie, and maybe none of the movies are any good at all. But we keep saying it's ahead of its time. And like, it's funny where it's ahead of its time, not necessarily as a compliment even. Like, it's ahead of its time literally in the sense of this is a movie about being in a video game when video games, this is pre-Mario.
This would like what's the only console that people would have had access to at this point was the Atari, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we're talking
people
about
were
3
still
years
going into arcades.
Like, we're talking about the video game crash era.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about like a very, very, very bad time. And video games were, I mean, not even at their maturation point. Like, they were, again, pre-crash here. So
think about that too. Think about like, and you guys weren't born yet. I was 2, all jokes aside. But even if I was 12, right? Even if this movie was perfectly designed for me, I would not know what 90% of the terminology in this movie was because we didn't have the internet. Nobody knew it. Like, I mean, they're deep. They use terminology, input, output systems, master control programs, like all this stuff. It's like, it's crazy. There's a difference between being ahead of your time and just doing shit that's like, just off the path.
Saying you're a program that I wrote doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have back then either.
Now I'm flipping back to the other side of the positives of the ahead of its time. I was like, now that we do know all this stuff and we're seeing this, I'm like, it's cool and it's kind of crazy that like they're trying to visualize all these computer elements and concepts.
Yeah, how do we personify these things?
That's fucking sick.
This feels like the company that Bill Gates started before he started Microsoft. The company that failed, but then he learned a bunch from that and was like, oh, okay, we're going to, this never actually happened, by the way, because he started Microsoft when he was in high school. But theoretically speaking, this is like the first startup that you do where you're like, we're ahead of our time and it sucks. And then you look back on it 30 years later and go, oh man, we learned so many things from that we did wrong that now we can do them right.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I do think it's funny that this is such a unique franchise and there probably are other examples of this, but the fact that this movie, this happened, and then it was decades later till the next, and then it's decades later to the next after that. And chances are they're all going to be, we could probably take our initial thoughts about this and take away a couple keywords, but it's the exact same review where it's just going to be like, oh man, a lot of cool stuff, but fuck, that just wasn't good.
Yeah.
And there's something about that really sucks. But there's also something about that that's like, but man, these movies are fucking cool. These movies are really fucking cool. And I really enjoyed a lot of this stuff. But like one thing that we didn't bring up yet in terms of the negatives of the film, yes, the plot is bad. Also, why are there so many characters that because of the tech all look identical? It was such a struggle sometimes to understand who was talking who and why, because the plot is fairly incoherent at a certain point. And then you're just like, all right, cool. There's the inside and outside versions of these people, but it's like, it just gets confusing where Tron, just as a character being in this film.
Why is Tron in this movie?
That's a great question.
It's a great question. Tron's in this movie because they wrote a movie called Tron.
Yeah.
That's the problem is it's that bad. It's like when you have a piece of tech and you're like, we need to use this piece of tech. And it's like, no, you don't. Like that's not, the character of Tron is cool. But why the fuck then isn't Alan the main character? Why is Flynn in this movie at all?
Yeah. So having said all of that, that's Tron. He fights for the users.
He fights for the users.
Yeah, dude. Let's go.
That's a badass
which meant nothing to me.
FTL in the live chat says War Games was 1985. He brings that up as an analog. I believe War Games is 1983. Just looking at it right now. But also that's a great pull. War Games is another one of those movies that you could tell somebody watched Tron and was like, oh,
we could do this.
No, but they were like, oh, the concept of a computer causing total annihilation because it takes over the other systems is a fucking really cool
It's
concept.
super cool.
What if we just made a movie about that? And War Games is a vastly superior movie to Tron. Vastly, if you've never watched it.
Is that
Fucking
a
great.
quote? Is that a quote from War Games? Maybe it is. You know War Games? Maybe I do. Still learn new things about you. Family Guy.
Oh, Family Guy. No,
Great line. I love
the famous quote from War Games is the only way to win is not to play.
I think that's what Lois told him.
That's the
That's
one.
hilarious.
Is it a War Games quote?
But yeah, again, going back to the ahead of the time thing, I think it's so funny because Kevin, when we were setting up the show, he was just like, "Oh man, it's so old," and it's like, yeah, it is. But just for context, yes, because the tech, they're doing stuff that was like so new and fresh and crazy. This movie is Return of the Jedi times. It's not A New Hope
No.
times. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's old. It ain't that.
It's
old.
not that old.
Yeah.
And especially when, again, let's talk about the movies that came out around this time. E.T., obviously a monster movie. This is Spielberg in his prime, like just cooking out there, hit after hit after hit. I challenge anyone, I don't care how old you are, to watch all of E.T. and not be fucking sobbing
Greg hates ET.
by the end of that movie. Well, Greg's Greg's a weirdo.
That is one of those things that one of the few moments that Greg said something that I'm like, I will never forget that you said this.
Yeah.
I hate you.
We
I don't
can't
know
be
if I
friends
fully
anymore.
watched E.T.
But I want you guys to
when I look at
understand.
E.T., all I can hear is, ooh.
Yeah.
E.T. phone home.
But I think
When two comes
I think
out,
of
we'll
the
do a
sound from
review.
X-Men, you know.
yeah. But so E.T. notwithstanding, Blade Runner came out before this movie. Now we've reviewed Blade Runner. We have our qualms with how that movie as well.
We never
Well-
did Blade Runner.
I thought we did.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought we. Oh, well, we should
No.
do Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Blade Runner is one of those movies where it's got some issues. It's not, but
But it's awesome.
visually,
It's awesome.
look at the difference between that movie and this movie.
Well-
and tell me that movie just doesn't do noir sci-fi way better. So yeah,
I wouldn't call
Wait,
this that.
oh, hold on. But the beginning of this movie, we all complimented as like the beginning of these movies where they're not in the
Looks great.
looks amazing, and also when we talk about something like Star Wars or Blade Runner, you know, all that's using compositing and miniatures and stuff like that. But like,
yes.
if those movies tried to do a full CG landscape in the way that this does, then we'd be like, oh god. But you know, they're using their shit smarter.
I think that's my point, right?
Yeah.
Is that we look at this and we say it was cutting edge, but being cutting edge just for the sake of cutting edge doesn't work. It has to be a tool that services the story. And like Blade Runner, if you look at these two movies, you would not, and you didn't know when they came out, there's no way you would think that Blade Runner came out a month prior to this film. You'd be like, oh my God, Blade Runner was like, must have been 10, 15 years later. No. So that was the difference between like Ridley Scott understanding the tools at his disposal and using them properly. And then these guys who were animators for the most part and like kind of, you know, tech nerds coming in here and just not.
I mean, we're also talking about a $17 million budget. Like this was,
What was Blade Runner?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like it's not like this was like.
But $17 million budget's huge for 1982. That's a big budget.
It wasn't though, like compared to like when we do a lot of the in review budget conversations. Anyways, we keep talking about the plot. I think we should get to the plot. It was $30 million for Blade Runner.
Okay. Well, that's pretty big. That's actually, I'll take that back.
Yeah, and then
That's
Blade
twice
Runner,
the budget.
Blade Runner made $10 million less.
It didn't
than
make, it didn't
Tron.
do well.
Yeah, but yeah, another cult classic movie. Anyways, we're about to take a quick ad break. When we get back, we're doing the plot, baby.
This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. You know that moment, the one when you realize you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach or on the roof of your car or in that gas station miles away. We've all been there. Nick Scarpino once left a pair of sunglasses in Vegas, and I've never heard the end of it. It wasn't my fault, but now there's Shady Rays. They've changed the game. These sunglasses are made for real life, seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. And here's the wild part. If you lose or break them even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, no replacements. So now Nick can wear his sunglasses without fear on urban hikes, at comedy shows, at the old folks' home, wherever. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code FUNNY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. That's shadyrays.com, code FUNNY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. This episode is brought to you by Factor. Fall always feels like a reset. Between back to school, busier routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I love Factor. Their chef prep, dietitian approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season gets. Factor removes the work and gives me a delicious, healthy meal in mere minutes. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, and for the first time ever, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. Eat smart at factormeals.com/kindafunny50 off and use the code kindafunny50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That again is code kindafunny50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with the code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
And we're back. Andy.
I heard a little soda crack off in the distance, and I know that our master ceremonies, our plot guru, master system control, is probably going to be coming back any second now. Because
here he comes.
There he is.
Here he comes.
Because the plot song isn't very.
Not his drink. Someone else's drink.
Somebody else cracked open a beverage. I thought it was you cracking a beverage.
I think
over
Joe's cracking a cold one there. She might be drinking beer. I don't know.
If this movie gives you scares, Scary Tron. Cherry Bomb song.
Holy fuck, Andy. That is the biggest stretch I've ever seen.
We got to give Andy some time off.
It's all I got.
Tron. Wow, if it gives you scares.
Scary Tron, yeah.
Wow,
Scary
man.
Tron. And then I was going to go, if this movie isn't bald, Harry Tron. It's all I got. I don't know. There's nothing that rhymes.
You know what? We're going to bring it next.
I was going to look for a song that had bridges in it. I just like...
Jeff Bridges, got it.
Yeah, like just not a whole lot to work with here. I've already done the Cherry Bomb song before. Not a whole lot of songs that have the word on or bomb or Islam. I was looking for a lot of words that just rhyme.
Okay.
I always type in like words that rhyme with Islam.
Sure.
Not my best. I'm tired of, I beat Silk Song like at 1 a.m. last night.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Tron.
Yes.
Oh shit, Thong Song would have been great, dude.
Tron. I like it when the
Baby, Tron. I like it when the cycle runs around the grid. Yeah.
That's great.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Kevin, cut that first part out and just did this. Thank you so much. Tron. We start with some cool music. I like the music in this. I will always love the music in this. I'm also a sucker for synthwave, just like silliness. And the main Tron theme is, I think, very, very cool and iconic. We get a shot of Flynn's Arcade. I don't know if you remember this or not, but one year at Comic-Con, I think when Legacy was coming out, they did Flynn's Arcade.
Oh my God.
And
they've now done it a bunch of times. But that to me will stand out in like pop culture history.
That was sick.
I think that year kind of elevated what Comic-Con was. I literally think that activation made San Diego Comic-Con the pop culture event from like the public, like paying attention and caring. Like you didn't need to be there. You're watching this online and like understanding that like people get to go to Flynn's Arcade, something that most people didn't even have reference for because no one watched Tron.
I remember seeing it being like, oh, there's other people out there that like get it. These guys get it. This would just be cool. Like for people that grew up on this shit, I would just go to that. That's just cool.
Yeah, so cool. But Nick 96 says, I liked the Tron-inspired KF animated episodes. I forgot that.
Oh, yeah.
We should go back.
You should go back and watch
2 or 3-parter.
That was I want to say a
Tron.
2-parter, and I want you guys to go back and watch that. Now you have context for Tron.
Do you remember who Tron was and what his name was? It was just Tim.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think at one point you called him Trim.
Well, the whole thing was veiled sexual references.
Yeah.
There was sex toys because the internet now is... It doesn't matter.
Just so you know, that still affects my IMDb right now.
Why? What was your character's name, Kevin?
Oh, I don't remember. It was Peruvian something.
It was Peruvian Street
Boy.
Street Meat. What an absolute deranged thing for me to write. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Tron. We get to see Flynn's Arcade. I stand by the fact that all the live action stuff in this looks really, really good. And then we just, for whatever reason, we're like, oh, it's a cool movie. It's Tron. Let's go right into it. Let's not set this movie up at all. Let's just show people off the rip a light cycle battle and introduce them to Sark and to Master Control. And I'm like, why? Build tension. They're already in the theaters. Make them wait. But they're like, no, guys. They got to see the animation or they're going to leave the theater.
I mean, they had to do that just so that they could have one of my favorite title treatments ever of just, meanwhile, in the real world. Just pops up with the stupidest
Like, oh,
font.
damn, I wasn't sure what was what.
So
I'm
weird.
glad they clarified for me.
The backstory here, the Master Control program is snatching up other programs he thinks he can be useful. If not, he sends them to the games to be destroyed. That's kind of the backstory here. We meet Flynn, and he looks awesome here. His hair's wet, and he's like typing in the back of some place, and we don't know what it is, but it turns out, I guess it's the back of Flynn's arcade. We never really see that room. We just see his cool fuck pad upstairs.
Such a cool fuck pad.
Such a cool fuck pad. Why is he so sweaty all the time?
Dude, he was sweating playing that video game.
D was like, why is he so sweaty? I was like, babe, have you ever played a video
Have you ever
game?
gamed with a lot of people
With
watching?
a lot of people watching in the 80s where deodorant wasn't prevalent?
So much stress.
He looks good.
Man,
He looks
great.
awesome. He is
And-
awesome.
His acting is so good in this.
Oh, it's Jeff Bridges. He's a badass.
amazing.
He's Jeff Bridges
He transcends time.
he really does. Jeff Bridges has made his own program called Clue, and Clue is a dork. Clue was like, man, happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Molly.
happy birthday, Polly, happy birthday, Polly. We get introduced to some of the tech here. We've got the tank that he's in. I stand by. One other outstanding visual of this movie is the set piece with the tank revolving on the inside and all the cool sort of Empire Strikes Back style like lighting and stuff that they have in there.
Sick stuff.
Fucking rad. But this character sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Clue sucks. Clue is his
sucks.
program. He is his user. Clue is looking for something. He's got to get into the memory kernels. And then we get, of course, introduced to another iconic set piece, another vehicle from this, the recognizers. Now, I've seen people
Nice.
online talk about how bad the design of these things are. Why are they green and red? Why are they so
I
easy?
hate the green.
Everyone, F the F off.
I will not.
Because if you name something the recognizer,
I mean, that's all it's got going for it. That's all it's got going for it.
I love it, dude. I love the way it's flying through. Kind of looks like brackets.
I do love how impractical it is. I think that's what makes its shape like cool and unique.
How about when he has to when he has to pilot it and the pilots are this, but then also a beer tap for some reason. And he can't figure out how it works because it doesn't make any actual physical sense.
When the legs rotate to touch each other, that sounds weird. But then they smash on the ground. It's like, what are you?
What are you trying?
Why do you operate like that? Like,
Hey man, the grid.
whoever built this sucks. It was a bad programmer.
Clue gets wiped out, and then that's Flynn's last ability to access the Master Control program and look for whatever he is looking for. I want to point out here, this is the first time we get sort of like the lining of the costumes sort of change with the environment that they're in. If they're bad guys, they're red. If they're good guys, they're blue. But then there's also touches of yellow. And if they go into a bad guy vehicle, like usually their color changes until Flynn gets into the vehicle because he's a user and his color changes the vehicle, which is cool. A little bit of a visual storytelling there, like that. Of course, back in the real world, Master Control calls Dillinger, who was played by, get the name, the guy's name, Warner or something Warner. Who this guy was terrifying to me because he was in a movie called Time Bandits and he was really, really scary in that movie. He's awesome.
That scared you as a kid?
Time Bandits is terrifying.
Was there like
It's Terry Gilliam, and at the end of it, the kid goes on this horrible adventure where he has to fight through all these crazy things, and he gets home, and his parents have been turned into lobsters, and that's the end of the movie.
what kind of like how big were they?
It was fucking sizable enough that you could walk them around.
Okay,
Taking for a walk, taking for pee.
they weren't like giant lobsters.
No, just like little. And it's just
Was there
parents.
quicksand in it?
No, but there was a moment where they had to like swing from place to place. If not, they fell into like an eternal pit of nothingness.
Were you renting these or?
I mean, they were just. There was like 5 movies that were always on. It was this, Beastmaster, and like Conan the Barbarian were just always on TV, and they were all terrifying. Beastmaster had, of course, that scene, where it had the monsters that would come up behind you like a bat and go like this, and it go, and then you
I
just
don't like that.
dissolve into nothing.
What the hell was that?
Beastmaster also had
I don't like
the
the
most
sounds of
terrifying
the
scene
face he made.
where a witch sneaks into a king and queen's tent and pours like blue liquid on their necks, and it paralyzes them from the waist down. And then she takes the queen's unborn baby and transitions it into an ox, and then it's born over there, and that becomes the main character of the Beastmaster. He can talk to animals because he was born of the animal.
Wow.
And that movie was terrifying.
So when they're in the
This is
real
why I'm
world here,
fucked up, Tim.
yeah, no, it's very telling. The shot of in the real world, and we get this helicopter, and the helicopter is also covered in this sick ass
come on.
red
That's what
neon.
you're like,
stuff.
this
Yeah,
movie's
it's
gonna
like this movie's cooking. Like this is pretty sick.
That's the coolest visual of the movie, dude.
I think so too. It is so rad, man.
So that's cool as shit. And I will also point out the fact that he's got the Star Trek The Next Generation desk in front of him where it's touchscene. That's amazing.
It's fucking
That was
amazing.
way ahead of its time.
Again, I haven't seen Legacy since theaters, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure I've watched like clips of some of the cool fight scenes and stuff, but I remember really digging the IRL stuff in that movie as well. And from the trailers we're seeing of Ares, it seems like the entire movie is just the freaking like digital world in the real world. I'm like, I'm a little hopeful for that stuff because I so far that seems to be what I enjoy the most.
I like the Enron logo also. Enron or Encom. Encom?
Yeah.
Encom. As a company is just cool.
It is cool.
Enron went under.
Yeah. Did they?
Yeah, they were a lot of insider trading.
Is that illegal? Is that
And
legal now?
Enron used to also,
That was Dick Cheney's old
the
company.
Houston
right?
Astros used to play at Enron Stadium,
Well.
and then immediately got taken down like a year later.
We get a lot of exposition here. One of which is Dillinger's talking to Master Control. Master Control wants him to yada yada yada. I'm not sure if this is it right. I don't think it's here yet, but I think Master Control is basically like, I own you now. This is where in the first 10 minutes of this movie we get that Master Control is eating up all these other programs, but it's bored. Now it wants to go into the Pentagon.
If you've seen one consumer electronics show, you've seen them all.
You've seen them all.
CES, baby.
I mean, CES, baby. It was back.
It was back then.
Live
Cool.
and kick it back then. What do you think Vegas was like back then? Probably stinky.
I knew you were gonna say stinky. Like there was no chance he didn't say stinky.
There was no other adjective to be had.
You guys told me you're walking around the CES.
You're not
hall
wrong.
in 1982. You're like, oh, man, Boofy in here. It's Phoebe Buffet.
He just hit all the notes.
Yeah, the greatest hits. All just line them up.
He went down the notes. The crowd went crazy. The crowd went wild.
Magnum opus. All right. Which is cool. This is a cool concept, right? That Master Control is like taking over the world, basically, and like now the machine has outgrown its master, and it is the master now, and Dillinger works for him, and it's terrifying. And David Warner has David Warner, great bad guy, has a great moment where he's like, "Shit, wait, I'm your like master," and he's like, "No, I'm fucking everyone's master now. I'm the shit." That's what's cool. Let's see. We get introduced to a lot here, so let's keep along on Master transfer machine. Change. Okay, so now we go downstairs to the laser lab.
Yeah,
because
good old laser
Tim,
lab. Mm-hmm.
Encom. What is Encom? What does Encom do?
Makes money.
Industrial computers.
I think they're a video game company. They do programs. They have accounting software, obviously. They're a software company. But I think predominantly, from what Flynn makes it sound like, they made a lot of money doing video games. And so I guess that kind of makes sense because it plays into here. Why are they into lasers? Would be the first question I asked if I were writing this movie. Why does the laser have to be in this at all? Why can't this movie just be about how Flynn needs to interact with the digital world so he makes Tron and then we go in and we see what Tron's really like? Why does he need to get sucked into the machine?
How else does he get sucked into the machine?
He doesn't. He doesn't need to. But I guess he does because it's cool. But
It could have also been his program.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Why isn't Tron his program? And we see Tron and he's talking to him and Tron becomes a character that we give a fuck about. Because when Flynn goes into the computer, Flynn becomes the main character of the movie called Tron. But Tron does all the cool shit. Flynn doesn't do anything except for quasi make out with Tron's girlfriend.
Dude, I mean, just really jumping ahead.
For real.
The
What was
cussing
that?
going on,
What was
kind of
happening?
fucking wild.
What was
and
going
also
on?
unclear. But
At one
again,
point, she calls him babe.
like, yeah, like, what are we
But
doing?
then she, when Tron's not dead, she kisses him and goes, "We thought you were dead."
We thought you were dead.
Which is her basically saying like, "Hey, dude, I banged your friend."
Yeah.
But we did. In
But
my defense,
hey.
we thought you were dead 5 minutes
Shit's
ago.
crazy. But yeah, the entire concept of him going in to get
The bad.
the rights, like all of it makes no sense. Absolutely.
So
batty.
we've got a laser that can digitize things. Now, I at first hated the scene when I first watched it until I realized that the main character in this, who is the old head of Encom, the guy that started this all, who ends up being Dumont later, and then I think also Master Control, because when Master Control dies, you sort of see his face, and I think it's the same actor. Could be wrong, which is cool. It's a cool concept. This is the grandpa from a movie called The Lost Boys. And I will always love that movie, and I will always love this actor, and by proxy, this movie because of that. But he's like, hey, man, like, we got this cool laser, and it's going to, like, digitize this thing, and it's going to pop back up in there. And he has a really, really great line, right?
He was really kind of hitting on this woman as well. I didn't like this old
It's
man.
Cindy Morgan. Okay.
Like the old man going in for a hug was like, oh, you don't.
Who
are you?
Hands to yourself.
Yeah,
buddy.
why are you doing that?
But he has a really great line here that I think is incredibly sort of prescient, right? Where he says, "Won't they be grand? Computers and their programs will start thinking, and humans will stop." That was a line
Dude,
written in probably 81 before they made the movie, but now 82.
pretty fucking crazy.
Think about that.
Yeah, man.
This movie is very, 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 very much like predicting a lot of crazy
It's
shit.
like that one awesome video of fucking David Bowie talking about the internet. Like, see this video from
No.
I remember
late
sort of anecdotally.
80s, early 90s video of him being like, no, we should be fucking terrified of what this can do. And it was just wild hearing that early on, where the interviewers trying to be like, yeah, but isn't like this technology so cool and connecting with people? Is like,
Should we connect?
He's like, no, yeah, exactly. He's like, no, this sounds like, not that this sounds, but it's like, no, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And we get a lot of that doom and gloom here as well. Of course, it's brought to Dillinger's attention that Flynn's hacking into the system. We got to stop him. He basically starts cutting everything off. All level 7 engineers are all cut off. Everyone's cut off from their programs. We get some really, really god-awful matte painting of the office just going on for way too long.
I loved it.
It's Alan's desk, but it's so fucking big.
Oh, I think that's so cool.
It's something. Alan, of course, played by Bruce Boxleiter, I think is the actor's name. Why is he in this movie?
Why is he in this movie? He's a doofus.
It's no disrespect to Bruce Boxleiter.
I think it is.
But I just don't understand, because we have the avatars. By the way, another fucking insane concept introduced in this movie is that you can have a computer representation of yourself that looks like you, that is your avatar, that's named something different. Crazy.
It's a lot, man.
That's
it's just
crazy.
it's a lot in a way that I think distracts because it's confusing.
I don't mean that. I just mean like, how awesome is that we have? I mean, obviously someone saw that and was like, oh yeah, well, let's do that. For
that
real.
could have. Yeah, I just
everyone's
feel like
Xbox
it was not well implemented.
No,
I think it was
God,
very
no.
confusing.
But again, he's in this movie. Cindy Morgan's in this movie. I would argue neither of them need to be. But if you're going to have Cindy Morgan as a love interest, because of course every 80s movie had to have a love interest back then because the guy was always the main character, have her be the person that's still at NCOM. Have her be the one that is fighting the security guards and sneaking around like Die Hard because she has to get to the import terminal for when, Flynn is in the machine and has to, talk, whatever. Alan doesn't need to be in this movie at all. And neither does Tron. I would argue both of those things. I think Flynn is the main character of the film. Of course, they go to Flynn's arcade, and man, he's got a lot of people around him of various ages, but he's probably 25.
That 14-year-old line was a weird thing to say, and it makes me look at Flynn differently.
What did he say?
Where what's her face is like, yeah, how do you think? Why do you think he's this way? All he does is hang out with 14-year-olds
In the arcade. Presumably, they don't get to go upstairs.
which is a weird thing.
It's a weird. The whole thing's weird.
Yeah.
But the idea
In that moment, I was like, is he supposed to be like 17 or 8? What's going on?
Well, that's the thing is like I think he's supposed to be young. I think he's supposed to be like early 20s. But Jeff Bridges, I don't think was when he made this movie. And he's supposed to be a contemporary with Bruce Boxleiter, who feels like he's 45 years old. Cindy Morgan feels like she's 21. So the age-wise, it feels like she's the youngest. Flynn's just sort of a kid at heart. And then Bruce Boxleiter is their fucking dad.
Well, it's the way that they design him. They give him the old ass, they give him the old style haircut with the glasses, and he looks older than he should be. Like that, Jeff Bridges is the young, dashing, cool, hair swept back, wind blowing. It's like they did everything they needed to aesthetically to make him look younger than he is. But for this Bruce guy, they were like, we got to make this guy look older for some reason. Or maybe that wasn't their direction, but those were the, what came out.
That was definitely the direction, because I think they definitely wanted like Alan to be the corporate sort of sellout, like the straight and narrow sort of like buttoned up guy. Cindy Morgan's there just to be Cindy Morgan, and then Flynn's there to be sort of like, I think they really wanted the Alan Flynn connection to be a little bit stronger than it was, but they just missed out, because Flynn is the most fascinating character of this whole thing. He's a guy who's free spirit. He's a video game designer in a time when we didn't really even know what the hell that meant. And he got fired from his corporate gig where he was making hella money and got screwed over because, and this is all stuff we're going to learn right now, is that Dillinger found his files, stole them all, released them, and those are the top grossing things for Encom, that built the company basically, and he wants proof of that. But while he's looking for proof of that and hacking the system, he started his own arcade and lives above it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. What an awesome life. What a great character. That is the main character of this movie. That's the character that I want to be and I want to hang out with, and that's cool as shit. But the movie's not called Flynn. It's called Tron. And I honestly think that 30 minutes into this movie, they were like, how do we get Tron into this?
Yeah.
Because we don't even see the titular character until like now. Now we get to the introduced to Ram and Tron
cool
and the
intro,
games.
It's a cool intro.
Well,
man.
because we'll talk about it right now. There's a couple things in this movie that I would say, if Greg were here, we would do some stupid podcast in a podcast that he would torture us with for the next 18 years. But I'm not going to do that. I just want to talk to you guys about this. What's cooler, the light cycles or the disc that you take off your own back and throw at people?
I mean,
I was gonna. I mean,
do it. Let's do a podcast.
No, it was gonna be Secret Delight. I want like very, very soft sensual music to go on top of that as well. Eventually,
I
we'll
like
get that
that you
going.
had an opportunity here to go full synthwave, and instead you went like Red Shoe Diaries, 1998 softcore porn.
Yeah,
everything.
That's exactly what I was kind of going for Secret Delights at least.
Good.
And not even necessarily a Secret Delight, but I think back to us doing, Star Wars in review and other old sci-fi movies and talking about the stuff that didn't age well and the stuff that is ageless, the stuff that is timeless. The X-Wing is a timeless design. There are so many things designed in the 80s that look doofy and dumb as hell nowadays. The light cycle, timeless. That thing will always look cool to me, and it's still the model for what people envision as the futuristic looking motorcycle. Like every time you see, if you just type in sci-fi motorcycle, of course you're going to get like the Akira motorcycle.
But the Akira motorcycle very much influenced, probably.
Of course, yeah. And you're going to get so many things looking like this sort of swooping round top with the big ass wheel in the front. It is awesome. It's timeless. I love this design so much.
Your buddy Danny in the live chat put it right. Secret Delight Cycle.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Do we like that more than the disc that comes off? That is all your information that you
it's
can
more
throw
of a
at
concept
people.
to me.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love it all.
Right.
Like, I think it's cool. I love the games. I love how they're implemented in the movie. Obviously,
do you love the games? The highlight game? It's weird as shit. But it's cool.
Some are
it's
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it knocks the ground out from under you. I think that's cool.
That's pretty
shit.
cool. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But yeah, the light cycle stuff, so damn cool. Like them all together, and they're that's like creating the labyrinths and stuff. Like it's just such a great idea.
We'll get to the light cycle part in a second, but I think the light cycle part is one of the reasons why that's my touchstone for this movie. And it's not because the light cycle is cool. It's because they do one very, very cool thing with the light cycle in that they're able to take it out of the arena and then just use it as a vehicle.
It's awesome.
And drive it around.
Yeah.
That's fucking so cool.
It never felt possible
It's so cool.
to me. I don't like that. I see that and I'm like, you can't, if the go-kart's not on the go-kart or the bumper cart thing isn't there, what about bumper boats? You take the bumper boat out of the bumper boat area, so what are you going to do with it? It's useless. The bumper cars needs the magnetism of the track,
Interesting. I hear what you're saying.
This world seems so not free that shouldn't be possible.
That's why I like
this world seems so binary in that, like, if that fucking bike is not on that track, it may as well just disintegrate as soon as it leaves the track,
All right, so we're back at Flynn's arcade. And now he's sweaty. He's like, I gotta go upstairs and change.
So sweaty.
And he does the thing that you only can do when you're young and like good looking. You can just take your shirt off in front of other people. I was like,
He does that.
I'm never gonna do this, right? He's got this cool pad upstairs. It's awesome. And they're all friends from back in the day. I think he used to date Cindy Morgan. Now Alan's dating Cindy Morgan now. We're not sure who's with whom, but whatever. And they're like, what are you doing, man?
First off, hold on. There is a crazy line here before they go to his place, and I'm definitely going to butcher it. I don't remember it word for word, but fucking Alan makes reference to, like, can't believe you should fucking date this dude. And then she replies to something like, yeah, man, but he was just like, he's crazy. Like, he's got this, like, it reminds me of the line in Meet the Parents when homeboy, wow, what's his name?
Luke,
Owen Wilson says like, "Whew, what a tomcat," because he used to date her, and it's like she like I would not love if my girlfriend was like, "Oh, but he was man."
Basically, she says he used to fucking throw it down.
He used to do
throw it down.
He used to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "What? I don't want to know." You know?
And you can even see there's a moment where she walks into his pad upstairs. She just shudders for a second. I made that part up. They go and they're like, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing? Like you're hacking into the system now. All the level 7 program engineers can't figure." He's like, "Well, guess what, guys? This dude stole all my shit, and I need evidence. And the only way to do that is to access a terminal that's in NCOM right now." And they fucking 180 immediately. What are we waiting for?
Let's do it.
Alan goes there and he's like, "You are fucking up, and we're all gonna get fired, and you're risking this amazing job that I have." And Flynn's like, "Whatever,
Well, here's
man."
how I'm fucking up. And he's
he goes,
like, I'm in.
"Cool, I'm in, dude. I might look like a square, but I'm one of you." So
So
they go
quickly.
to NCOM and they go through the world's thickest door, which was a real door where they shot at Livermore Labs, which apparently was some sort of nuclear accelerator lab that maybe still exists. I don't know. But apparently Cindy Morgan tells a story where she was like, "We were working and that door was real. And the lab was real. If you look like the set piece they have with all the steel girders and shit,
Yeah.
and the truss and stuff like that, that was a real lab that they had they got permission to shoot him."
Funny little line there.
But apparently she was like, there was like a some sort of nuclear waste accident that happened outside, and they roped it off, and they were like, "Just don't go over there."
Just don't go.
And
over
she
there.
apparently wasn't paying attention and stepped in it. And
Oh,
a bunch
no.
of people from Livermore Lab came and like had to like delouse her shoe.
Oh wow.
Like de-radioactive her shoe or some shit like that. And she was like, "It was fun." And I was like, "You're sterile now." Like,
That's wild.
It's crazy. Anyway, they go and they break in, and he has a level 6 password. He's like, "I love this shit, man. It's so cool." Level 6, his password's like duty or something. I can't remember what it was. And they go inside and she's like, "You can use my terminal." They put me down here in the lab. In the laser lab, he's like, "Okay." And then Master Control pops up. He's like, "Hey, man, you're fucking around. And you know what happens when you fuck around." And Flynn's like, "Oh, whatever, man." And Master Control goes, "You find out." And we get it, which should be amazing. It's not quite amazing, but it's cool. He grids out.
But
right?
was it cool at the time? That's my question. Because I look at this now and I firmly am like, this is lame as shit. But like, was there a point that this is cool, Andy, do you think?
I think so.
Well-
yeah, I
Yeah.
think back in the day, if you saw, especially the way that the tech looks, and it reminds me of whenever, sometimes you fall down weird TikTok rabbit holes, and in your algorithm, you'll get nonstop little devices that like etch fuck into metal. And that's what this kind of looked like, where it's like, and it's zapping all of like his, the different little grid patterns on him. I thought that stuff was, when I watch this now in 2025, I was like, oh, that's a cool thing that they use to, this is how he's getting into, the system.
Yeah, I like it. It's nostalgic. It's a sign of its time. What I really like, though, is him getting sucked into the machine. I like all the vector effects. I like all the 1980s, like, all we could do was a Tetris style piece, so it's gonna fly at you and all that stuff. And there's
That was
grids.
hilarious.
And there's a really, really, really fucking cool moment in the behind the scenes features where they were talking about the rotoscoping process, and they were talking about the process of like having to layer pieces of film over themselves. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking cool.
I think it's pretty
That's cool.
cool. Yeah.
And
Tim,
they were
you don't think that's cool?
I mean, it looks like a JPEG, like slowly disappear. Again,
It
it's
was.
like, I know where we're at now. It's like,
Yeah.
but I'm
Hey,
saying
man,
like,
that would take me and Andy at least one afternoon to do. So
Yeah.
put some respect on it, okay? That's our time.
I would take a long lunch in between, though.
They were saying that there was moments where in this process, specifically I forgot what the machine was they used for the intro for this to like layer stuff on top of each other. But one of the most fascinating things was when they were doing this effect and some of the other effects, it would just drive them nuts because there'd be just moments where like there'd be a flash would happen. Like the film would go just a little bit brighter than the other one. And they couldn't figure out why. And they figured out eventually that when you buy reels of film from Kodak, the variance between the first frame and the middle frame could be as much as one stop. But you don't notice it because as you're exposing the film completely, like you just never, your eye doesn't really ever see it. And then eventually you can kind of color correct that out. But they were using like different pieces of film.
Oh.
And they didn't realize that they needed to go in order. And so they would be filming a shot, and then the next one frame would just be a flash frame. And they were so behind the gun that they were like, just put a sound effect behind it. So now every once in a while,
That's
you'll see it go
hilarious.
like it's a digital electric like
Oh,
surge happening from the
glitch or
machine.
something.
But it was because they were like, we just don't have time to go back and
Gotcha.
fucking reshoot
Wow.
that frame. It was pretty cool. And you can see moments. I don't think it was that, but there was another thing that was happening where you can see as they were rendering out this intro sequence, there's just weird flashes of blue that looks like some sort of cloud. That looks like it was designed in there, but they were like, we don't know what the fuck is causing this. And we can't figure out why it's happening.
Like, fuck it, it looks cool enough.
Apparently, like if you walked by the computer that was rendering this with like fur on, it would cause an electrostatic thing that would like reset shit.
Oh,
there was
that's
all sorts of
funny.
crazy shit. So they were just like, fuck it, put a sound effect behind it.
Wow.
And so every time you hear an
Great
electric
solution.
surge happen, it was because they had to cover a mistake. Anyway, we're
It's
in
like
the mission.
it's like in the Let's Play lab when you hear the little buzzing in your ears from the little soundboards, but it's certain game menus change the frequency of the and then I go to and then I'll go to settings and it's so bizarre. Look at it.
we're gonna figure it out. one day.
Electronics are weird, man.
We get introduced a lot here. We've already met the character Tron now at this point, who is just murdering people. Sark we've met as well. Sark is Dillinger's avatar. Sark is the MCP's basically right hand man. It's the henchman, and his costume's awesome. And David Warren in this is awesome. I always like that he's got the longer mask thing going on. Some of the other characters that are walking around that are the big buff guards look like they're wearing pillows. That's odd and should have been redone.
These are hilarious looking. Yeah, I think they look terrible.
We meet Ram, and another guy who used to be in accounting. He was accounting software. Oh no, Ram's actuary software who helps people realize their investment goals, and he doesn't know why he's there.
I don't know why these armor pieces. Well, I can maybe tell why now that I'm thinking of it, because I was like, why didn't they just give them similar armor pieces to what you see any of the Empire use in the old Star Wars movies? Like, that would have made more sense, but those are very reflective. And I wonder if that
Well, they could have made them matte. They didn't have to paint them reflectively. They could have made them matte white.
When I look at but then I look at all of their armors, and they're not even armor. They are just like very soft fabric kind of
it's pads. They're
pads.
padding, yeah.
And I wonder if that's just a lot easier to kind of do all of the special effects back in the day on.
I don't think
But they
so.
look dumb as hell.
I
Like,
honestly-
I thought the costume design in this movie is god awful.
I think if you were to do it again, and no future spoilers, I think if they had looked back and could reconceptualize this film, they would have just designed the light into the costume. But I don't know. We didn't have LED strips back then, so I don't think you could have done that.
No.
But like, if I were directing this, I'd be like, "Hey guys, let's just make the thing light up," because that would be so much fucking.
I
easier
love
to
the
use.
one frame to the next, Kevin. This guy looks like he's shrugging, like, "Hey, what,
But I will say,
what do you want me to do?" I mean, fuck.
bring that frame back up though, real quick, if you don't mind, because they do use another fucking really cool effect there. So that optical effect they had to do was really difficult. They had to like layer
On
different
the staff?
Yeah, on the staff. So every time you'll notice, there's moments of amazingness where he like shocks the guy, and they'll go like 5 of them will pop up and then they'll come back down. They had to do that like by layering those rotoscoped layers
Oh,
together.
cool.
It's really fucking cool. I digress. We get introduced to the games here. Yada yada yada. That's all happening. Flynn is now here, and he's like, "Whoa, man, this is crazy. I'm wearing a tunic and a dance belt. Wow, right?"
He's like, "So what sort of dream am I in?"
Yeah, man, somebody's got to wake me up. Well, I was smoking the ganja, Tim.
For
The
sure.
ganja. Of course, Master Control's like, "Hey, Flynn's here," and he orders Sark. He was like, "I want him to play in the games until he dies." And Sark's like, "Why don't you just let me?" It's literally Austin Powers. I can go get a gun. I come back and I'll just shoot him, Dad. I'll just shoot him. No, freaking lasers. Well, freaking he has to be in the game.
He has to
Why?
be in the
Because
games.
we're making a video game, Tim, and we
Yeah,
have to
dude.
sell that
Duh.
shit. So he gets put up against the dorky dude that's like, "You think I'm gonna go down? I'm gonna fuck you up." And you're like, "Oh shit, this little accountant dude's got some
Yeah.
balls to him, right?" And they play what I would. This is always the game that stands out for me: Light Cycles and this, obviously, because there's only 2 games we see. This is the highlight game where they have to throw the thing up and it comes down and shit gets real here for Flynn, because he's like, "All right, man, everything's cool here," and then he realizes, "Holy shit, I could die in D-Res." And by the way, they call it
D-Res,
D-Res it.
dude.
Awesome.
Can't wait for next week.
So sick. He of course he gets the better of the guy because he's athletic and skinny, and the other guy's me from high school. The opposite of that. And the guy goes, "I was chubby,
Okay, got it.
unathletic,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have got murdered in this game." And he goes down, and Sark's like, "Are you not entertained? Are you entertained? And he hits the little button, and then he's about to hit the other button, and Master Control comes off God mic, and he's like, I told you I want him to die in the games. So he goes back to his cell. Who does he meet, Tim? Tron.
Tron, baby.
Who?
The titular
Who does he
Tron.
fight for, Tim?
The users.
I fight for the user too, man. And for no reason, he's like, I'm going to pretend like I'm a program. I'm not going to tell these guys I'm a user, which would be pertinent information.
Honestly, you fight for the users. I'm a user. Like,
Why the subterfuge? You
Very
know
weird.
that Tron is the guy you came to get. The whole point was Alan's like, if you go in, go find Tron. Tron exists outside of Master Control's programming. He's outside of that. So he can fight him, basically. That's how we've set up this world, right? He finds Tron and he goes, I'm a program too, man. I don't remember what I used to be. Shit's crazy. Why?
Wait, why?
I'm a user. I can probably do. Oh, you're a user. I know shit you can do because you're a user. I bet we could do this. What a cool thing they could have done. They could have teamed up. But instead, he's like
weird.
adversarial to Tron for no reason. Of course, we go in to the iconic scene, the light cycles. After this, I'm sure some other shit has happened, and this is where you would think you were gonna cut back to Alan being chased down in the real. Nah, he's just up there in his fucking office, presumably eating corn nuts. I don't know. What is Alan doing? What is Cindy doing?
Yeah.
Not Cindy. Laura. What is she doing? Laura? No, what's her name in this? Doesn't matter. She's Yori in the movie. We're going to meet her later.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a badass costume. So they're like, all right, let's go. And we start the light cycles. Now, when I was a kid and I first saw them hold on to a little thing and the light cycle form around them, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Coolest thing ever. Yeah.
And it's still fucking rad.
Yeah,
It's
it
still
really is. It reminds me a lot of Power Rangers morphing sequences where it's like, yeah, it's just the actor going like this and colors flashing around him and then they're in a suit. But like there's a magic to it. And this light cycle animation is goofy as hell, but it's goofy in a like, I believe it way. Like it's very binary of just like jerky, you know what I mean? But like I like that.
Well, they had to
though.
do it in like basically frame by frame with the actors. What I love about it though is that there's a world where like I love that back then they envisioned that you could just like carry this like cylinder with you and you could put it out in front of you and it would form a light cycle around.
I mean, that I think is my secret to light.
That is
so
cool.
fucking cool.
Right? But yes, when they go into the light cycle animation, is it as stupid and lame as when Batman has to target people by going down into the tumbler? Yeah, it's dumb.
I love it. I love it there.
But you gotta love it. You gotta love it. They go into light cycles, and I fucking love this scene. I love that they're color coordinated. All this stuff is like just putting it right in here, right?
It's great.
And he's just like, screw it, man. I'm going for this. If you guys want to break out, let's break out. Because he realizes one of the things crashes through the wall. And he's like, oh, it made an opening. Let's go for it. They murk the other guys, and off we go. And this is where my young brain goes, holy shit, you can take the light cycles outside of the arena and just drive them around? Like, fuck the plot of this movie. I just want to do that. That just sounds awesome, right? Love the design of them, of course. They hide, and they have this wonderful moment that I think is a standout moment for me, where they go into the back area with all the broken bits and pieces and all the jagged little areas and they're walking around. They have a physical set to walk around into.
Is this where they kind of like take
And
the
that's where they
health
start
potion?
getting the power.
Yeah.
It's like pure raw
It makes
power.
them all glow. I'm like,
Glows them.
this is sick.
Sick. Well, I think Tron or Ram takes his disc off to put it in.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Super fucking cool.
Very
And then
video game.
They look over and they say, this is the goal of the movie. I have to be able to communicate with Alan. And the only way I can do that, we've been cut off because we know that Alan's been cut off as well. I got to get to the IO station over there, the input output tower that's over there. It's the only one that's working because all the rest of them have been shut down by Master Control. How are we gonna do that? Well, we got to get to the solar sail, which is cool. Of course, they go back out. Flynn and Ram get shot. They get killed by one of the recognizers while Tron hurries on over to the station to meet up with Yori. And that's when we get another cool moment, which I think is when they go back into like the broken, he drags Ram down there and he's like, and he finds the broken recognizer. You don't know what it is at first, so they hide there first. And it's the interior because we haven't seen one yet. And he's like, I think I can pilot this thing. And it's a great scene with him and Ram where Ram dies, but he's like,
you flashes pink as he
it's
dies.
so cool. And it's kind of heartbreaking because he's like, what are you? And like he sees him touch the machine, and for the first time, a program has touched a machine, and the machine turns its color.
Yeah.
Not the opposite way around. So he goes, wait a minute, what are you? You're a user, aren't you? He goes, yeah, I am a user. And he's like, wow. It's just a great touch.
Cool.
It's fucking cool. And he dies, and it like dereses, which is cool. Of course, the recognizers broke as shit, but it doesn't matter. We go over and he crash lands it into the city, and we get what I wish we had more of.
Me too, but also it's like, do we want more? Because I feel like that's when it's going to get Ant-Man 3 levels of just like seeing the world. But I love getting all these like fashionistas.
Yeah.
You know, like a bunch of just like rich people, it seems, in the digital world, like all wearing like different colored, like fancy ass outfits. Like kind of a cool. I like that we just get a brief shot of it. They like expands the world to us, but it does make me go like, I want so much more.
I want so much more of this, and maybe we'll get it next week. I do want to note that I wrote the line down that Ram, as he dies, he looks and he says, "Help, Tron." It's cool. We fly there. Tron hooks up with Yori, who is Laura's program, so they can take on mass control. This is when Flynn crashes. Flynn knocks out a guard and takes his color, which is cool. He's like touches him and takes his color. So now he's like hiding in plain sight. Rad. They find Dumont, the tower guard, who is also the old man from outside, and the grandpa from Lost Boys. And his design here is wild. This is where he just looks like a little, like, sort of peak coming out of the world. He's like, there's a face and it looks like a dog dick.
Yeah.
Not sure that I love this, but I love that it sort of revolves and he's sort of stuck in place and he's just basically the tower master.
Zordon-y.
Yeah, kind of. And they have to talk him into this. They're like, man, we need your help with this. And he's like, all right, just go in there and go do it.
No, he's not Zordon.
Am I thinking of the wrong?
No. You're thinking Master Control is
The
Zordon.
dude in the costume who looks like he's just a big pylon.
He looks like he's become. The design is wild. I'm partial to it, and I'll tell you why, because I think it's
Character name, do you know?
Dumont. Dumont.
He's the guy,
Yeah. In Sphinxing. The guy in the Sphinx position.
But I like it because he's like frozen in place there. He can't move, and he's been put there as like a watch. He's a tower watch guard.
Yeah.
But again, the thing that just looks
that's him
dumb
right there.
about it is what the materials being used are.
Yeah.
Like it looks like high school theater.
It's not believable as a real thing.
Yeah.
It
A
looks like a costume.
A lot of it looks like a costume that you made at home because your dad forgot to buy
Totally.
you a costume.
Yeah. It's
Like a homemade costume. Of course,
like I wish he wasn't even a person in a costume. I wish it was some, not in the same way that they do the Zordon digitization, but if it was like a thing you had to talk to. I mean, just think of like, 2001 Space Odyssey, of just a light that blinks and they have to like talk to this thing. And I don't know.
Tron gets permission to go through the tower because he has to use his disc to let Alan know he's there, and Alan's going to copy the information down he needs to throw into. He has to throw his disc into Mass Control's like central processing unit to basically delete it, to destroy it. And we get the iconic shot, which is not the shot on the poster, but it's very, very similar to the poster, where he realizes Alan's there and he holds his disc up.
Oh, yeah.
And just a beam of light hits him. And it's so dope. It's so dope.
And here's the problem, that the Tron movies are not good, but I will forever love them because of how cool they are. And so much of that the world can't take from me was 2010 to 12 at Disneyland, when it was just Tron, baby. It was all Tron all the time, Andy. They had
like the Tron Nights.
They had a whole section that was just Flynn's arcade.
Oh,
and it was just the fucking arcade. Outside of that section was Tron Nights,
Oh.
where it was just the Daft Punk soundtrack playing, like EDM remixes of like all the Disney shit. It was a full-on club situation. They had glowing drinks that they would give you, and then randomly they would just choose people and do the freaking light down on them, and there'd just be a blue light beam coming down, and it was so cool.
I'm so jealous.
It was so cool. And this was also when World of Color first debuted, and they added like the World of Color show had its first run. During the second run, when this movie came out, it would end and it would glitch and start again, and the Daft Punk music would start, and they shoot the water up and blast the lights, and it was just like the grid. Oh my god, it's fucking sick.
Like when you talk about those cool moments, there aren't a whole lot of movies that aura farm that don't really deserve it.
Straight up, dude. That's
And
Tron.
this movie is farming aura so much without a whole lot of substance to back it up. But when it does, it's still cool.
Let's use it as an example of what you're talking about. The poster for this film. What part of the movie does this happen in?
Never.
Never.
Not once.
No,
They just made this dope ass
Yeah.
poster where him and Yori are there, and he's either shooting his disc up into the air or receiving his disc from Alan.
You print
and
that
this just never fucking happens.
You print that shit on a vintage T-shirt and fucking what is?
Sorry, I didn't want anything to happen. Don't look at the chat. Don't look at me. I want you to read this press release.
Why is it so long?
Oh, what? Doug Bowser bids farewell to the Mushroom Kingdom. Nintendo of America president and COO to retire. Company names Devin Pritchard successor. What? What?
Break it out, Roger.
This is crazy. Who's Devin Pritchard?
Who isn't Devin
A
Pritchard?
19-year
finally took down
veteran of the
Bowser.
video game industry and longstanding member of Nintendo of America leadership.
In a
Wow.
totally unrelated note, all bad guys in the Mario franchise are now going to be called Pritchard.
Huh. Very interesting. We will
good
talk about that on Games Daily
Exciting.
in greater detail.
Nick, if I look at this poster behind me,
God, it's so sick.
I tell you what.
Like, I want to see that movie.
Here's
Of
the
course I
thing.
want to see that movie. What is it?
Here's the
like
thing. Here's a good
Silverhawks.
plan. We take that JPEG,
Mhm.
throw it on a T-shirt, sell it to Slowback Mike for $349.
I'm sure he has it.
Vintage, make it look busted up and used.
Mike was wearing a Warcraft 2 t-shirt today that I'm sure he spent $600 on.
Probably, yeah.
And if I'm being real, it's not the right size for him. So I can't wait to inherit it. I've told Mike that I'm like, whenever you're done, don't throw the clothes out. I'll buy them from you. Because I'd look lit as fuck in that
Yeah.
shirt. I digress. He's got the information he needs now. Now we got to go over to the Solar Sailor, which is this cool wind sail that I guess rides on beams of energy. We've got to go all the way over to the master control, and we got to get in there. Why, mind you, we've already seen another cool design, which is Sark's battleship. That's kind of going around here and there. Very, very cool. Solar Sail, a couple notable moments about this.
Something about this moment in the movie is to me where it really falls off a cliff.
It really slows down.
Like-
it was already.
And that's the thing is
But,
but it was like I was kind of
Yeah.
enjoying it to the point of like, all right, cool. The light cycles, obviously, like, the beginning of the movie was kind of dope. Like there were things where I'm like, this isn't good, but I'm not having a bad time. And it was somewhere around here, I'm like, this really just feels like a mess. Like I'm not being entertained by the things. I don't really understand what's happening and why.
It's because we don't have the juice to make this actually exciting, and it's unfortunate. One would hope that 20 years later, with more modern technology, you could do the third act of a movie and have a chase scene in it and have it be exciting too, and have it not be a little too slow and kind of boring.
This felt like, well,
One would
this,
hope they could do that.
you can imagine this. Close your eyes and imagine this. Just imagine that the resolution to the movie's problems had already happened. This sale moment is happening,
Mhm.
and the credits are rolling.
Oh,
like
that'd be
Willy
cool.
Wonka
Okay,
flying up through the fucking
Yeah.
thing on the elevator.
Wonkavator.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Wonkavator.
yeah.
Like this feels like
Goes
this could have
differently.
been the end of a movie.
Yeah.
Had the story just, like, hey, we solved the thing and now we're sailing off. And you
Yeah.
know.
I do want to throw a couple notable cameos out here. One, when Sark, way earlier in the film, when Sark's talking to Master Control, and he has that moment where like the beams come down and like lock him off, so he can actually talk to MC without being like the Vader sort of Emperor moment. On the maze, on the basically map behind him, you see a little Pac-Man. And then
Oh,
I
that-
think I didn't see it in the movie,
that.
but I did see it on Reddit when I was doing some research. I'm not sure if it's absolutely in there, or if it was just someone Reddit trolling people. But at the beginning of the Solar Sailor moment, as they're going, if you look at the imprint on the ground, it's Mickey. You can see an actual like just an embossed, like just the landscape is a little popped up, and it's,
Mickey.
it's the outline of Mickey, which is kind of cool.
Well, hidden Mickey.
Yeah.
Hidden Mickey.
That's what I meant to say. That's-
We go out in this and it's boring as shit. And he's like, "Oh man, they're gonna collide with us, and I gotta put my beam of light in the thing and shoot up." And like, how did he do that? Oh, is he a user? No, who cares? Because we haven't. There's no whatever. We should have
gives a shit?
explored this a little bit earlier in the film. He has a weird line here where he's like, "How did you do that?" And he goes, "A beam of energy can always be diverted." And I was like, "Wow." He's like, "It's just physics 101, man." And I'm always a nut for that. I was like, "I didn't know that. I didn't know that any beam of energy can always be diverted." And I Googled it, and they're like, "No, that's just bullshit." They just made that up. Like, a lot of beam of energies that can be diverted for a lot of different reasons.
They're like, there's no way people will be able to research this in
No,
the future.
which is odd though, because for a movie where they were like very much like, "Hey, we want to use as many scientific terms as possible," which is why the movie's kind of confusing when you watch it, because they're like, we should have dumbed this down for a lot of people. But yeah, that was a weird one. They collide with Stark's ship, and Tron gets knocked off, and everyone's like, "Shit, Tron's dead." And Yori's like, "Well, I guess I'll make out with Flynn then," because he's the hotness, and he's in jail, and he's like, "Wait,
He also calls her mommy. It's kind of hot.
does he call her mommy?"
Yeah.
What?
When they're like arriving, but right before Tron dies, she says something to him, and he's like, "Are we there yet, mommy?"
I think her name is Yori.
He says, "Mommy."
He says, "Mommy."
Yeah, like as a joke of like,
Oh, I see.
is
Are
the
we there
ride
yet,
over
Mom?
yet? You
Got it.
know. But he says, "Mommy." I was like, that's pretty hot.
We have a lot of shit happening here. Number one, they're in prison with.
Unless
Zalon.
I imagine that in my own fantasy. Let me know,
Well,
chat. Let
I'll
me know in the
watch it
comments
later.
down below.
I'll watch it later. He's like, hey man, they're like, Sark comes in, he's like, you're all gonna die, whatever. Sark leaves, awesome power moment. He's like, I think I can get us out of here because I'm a user and I can interact with all this stuff. And it's like, that's convenient. Meanwhile, Tron's not dead. He's climbing on the outside of the ship. We get to the master control program, and Tron drops down and he has his disc and he starts throwing it at the spinning wheel of shields. And every time he hits one, it goes away, but it's spinning too fast.
Yeah,
He's like, I don't know if I make it. Meanwhile, Sark goes down there and we finally get the Sark Tron face off.
And I will say, this whole thing, fucking awesome because of Kingdom Hearts 2. Because I was like, I played this, man. Goofy was there.
I will also say this sequence, specifically the end of the sequence, is the best CG in this, followed by the worst effect that they've done. And stick with me here. They get into a disc fight where they're throwing, and Tron takes this and he goes, I'm more powerful than you because I fight for the user. And he hurls his disc so hard, it cuts through Sark's disc and then fucking cleaves his head.
Dude.
And as it cleaves it, multicolored bits fall.
So
It's the
sick.
coolest effect in the
Very,
whole movie.
very,
And he
very
falls
cool.
down, and the sound effect is like horrifying. It's really, really cool. And then, of course, Master Control Program is like, you can have all my power now. All of it goes to you. And he gets all big, and it looks just so dumb.
So
It's
dumb.
so
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
But, of course,
Yeah, it was. I never knew where knew this face from. I had seen it in pop culture, and seeing it here, I was like, I mean, it reminds me of Andros in Star Fox. Yeah, it reminds me of Zordon, obviously, but I don't know, it's just a very silly looking thing.
it's so a lot of it was because of the time, because of the technology of the time. There were two studios that worked on this. One was called Triple I, and I forget what the other one was called, Magi something or other. One was out of Taiwan, and I forget where Triple.
Oh my God, right, Hidalgo, you nailed it. It is Moses from South Park.
They're probably
That's what they used as like an image.
Oh, yeah.
Holy fuck, that is exactly it. That's where I've seen this face before. That's insane. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Especially like the nostrils being that far apart, Wow. Great job, right, Hidalgo.
This is an interesting fact, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see if AI pulls this up for me. The two main studios. No, it never does. Fucking AI sucks. Oh, Magi and Triple I.
sucks.
So Magi and Triple I, but they both had different ways of producing stuff. And so I think it was like Triple I had technology where they were actually able to like put shapes together to make slightly more complex shapes, and they could do like splines and stuff, but the other one couldn't. And the other one worked on Master Control. So a lot of their stuff is just basic geometry. The only thing that like basically what would you think you could actually program into a computer that would be relatively easy. And then they show how like the light cycles were made, and it was like start with a block.
Yeah.
And then do a slightly circular block that goes over it, and then have them program how they interact, and that made like a curve. It's fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
At one point, they were talking about how like they did the CGI and how they had to program the cameras, and every single frame of the camera was 600 positional coordinates that they had to copy down and send to Taiwan.
Oh, no.
Oh,
And the guy had to like copy them down one by one to
Oh,
put into the
no.
computer.
were
Like,
they
that's how-
faxing back in the day?
I think that's how they had to do it.
Well, yeah, that's at the end of this movie, right?
They had they actually had, I think, some sort of, if memory serves, they actually had some sort of like very rudimentary like internet where like the phone to phone connection, like you see in war games where you'd call in and it would dial up,
Modem style.
and then the two computers could, basically a dial up modem. I think they had that technology at the point, but crazy shit. Anyway,
And you missed this when you're over there, but the light cycles, obviously they're cool, blah, blah, blah. We get that. But the thing that we need, the secret light that we got to talk about is they're just this little like bit that then turns into the cycle.
oh,
So
yes.
it's like you carry that. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, that's the Destiny ghost. That's every, you think about just the way video games
Yeah.
are. It's like, oh, the vehicle is in that little
So
device.
anything you can do where like
Do an
you have a
awakening.
we have a tool belt and you just take it off and it becomes a vehicle.
There
It's
we go.
so fucking cool. From here, of course, he was like, oh man, Tron's having a hard time down there. I'm going to jump into this light because I'm a user and I could probably stop him. I guess it makes sense. But before he does that, he's like, hey, Yori, come here. Hey, mama. Let me get a little smoochy.
Mommy.
Let me teach you how the users do it up top in the real world. And she's like,
We're
oh,
perverts.
fuck. She was like, oh, fuck.
I hang out
Like,
with
that was pretty
14-year-olds.
great.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked making out with you, even though Tron's kind of my boyfriend.
Yeah.
But he is dead. Although, is he dead? No, he's down there.
Yeah.
We can see him right there.
She called him babe also. Like I think about that also when they're running together in
Remember, 'cause-
the lab
Yeah.
and she's like but before he gets transported, she's like holding his hand and they're running up the ladders into the lab and she's like, "Over here, babe." I was like,
Well, just remember this, Andy. Okay. You can have a lot of women marry the guy that's got a good job, that like goes to the 9 to 5, takes care of the kids, has a
Mhm.
good retirement plan. But just remember, guys, if you're that guy,
if you're Jeff Bridges.
your wife is secretly thinking about the Jeff Bridges from her past, that fucking lays it down.
Yeah.
That
He's
lays
so
it
good at
down.
video games.
Which is like, it's so convoluted here. Why doesn't she love Tron? Why isn't she devastated by it? It doesn't matter. He jumps in to the light and he goes back up to the real, but it pauses the thing just long enough for Tron to throw the disc into the mouse control, and it's the return of the Jedi, and they're in the thing, and they finally get, nice shot, kid. That was from a couple movies ago. And it explodes, and then we get all the IO towers, and all the rest of the land, colorful, lights
all
up.
here.
Fucking cool.
Score popping off. The whole score of like the last 10 minutes of this movie is so damn good. We get the love theme version of the main Tron theme. We get the Tron theme banging, the bad guy synth fight. So sick. But yeah, like the color all coming back, all of this. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, I know what you're doing. What's happening though? Like what?
Well, in the world,
Yeah.
Master Control was deleting all the programs controlling everything.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their way of saying, they say all the IO ports have come back on, which means that all of the capability of talking to your user is now back up. So all the programs are getting their power back, basically.
Yeah.
That's the whole concept of it.
It was, I don't know, man.
But it's the cool way of like,
it's a
Dumont's
lot.
like, all the IO ports are up. I was like, it's fine. It's just a cool way to have color go up into the sky. It means we won. It's the equivalent to
writing
X-Wings
comes out.
going over and, fireworks going off from Return of the Jedi and all that stuff.
Tron now owned by Jeff Bridges or whatever. It's just silly.
He goes up and he's like, comes back. He's like, oh man, that was crazy. And it's established that in the computer world, everything's in like milliseconds or whatever. But in the real, so he's only been gone for like
Time dilation.
5 minutes or whatever it is. But in the world, it's been like a couple of days, whatever. Time dilation.
We gotta hurry up. Every second down here is
But-
7 minutes out there. Like, no, it's not true. It's the opposite.
But then you can see what happened, right? You can feel the horror from the writers of this movie
Yeah.
when they realized that he didn't actually accomplish his goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because he at no point did he stop during this grand adventure to find the proof he needed to prove that diligence. So they were like, what if a printout just pops up?
Insane, dude.
And then it was crazy as though there was
I
a
was,
deleted,
I was legitimately angry at
Yeah.
this.
there's a deleted scene
No.
where he goes to
God.
court and they go, hey man, this is not a legally binding document.
No
It's just
way.
No, I'm kidding. But
Oh.
you can see that. Like, why is this the
Fuck,
proof
I would
that
have
you
loved
need?
that.
No, but it's a fucking printout. I can go make that right now.
Legitimately. And like that.
Anyone
that's,
with a dot matrix printer and a fucking computer, a word processor could have made that printout.
I know we've said this like 10 times about this movie. Like the
Proves
worst thing
nothing.
about this movie, to me, legitimately, the worst thing about this movie is the whole thing is like, man, I need to prove that I own this game. And the way he does it is he doesn't do anything.
Now,
I
there is
so-
one moment where it's up in Dillinger's office and Dillinger gets the message. So presumably it's sent it out to everyone, and that's the evidence that he needs.
But the evidence he needs is just somebody randomly getting a printed out thing that
Tim, it's
so
priority
badly,
one.
I so badly
Priority
wanted this
one.
message to pop up on Dillinger's screen and Dillinger look at it and be like, oh, fuck. And then just delete. Just
Yeah.
delete the message. Because, like, it's so stupid. It's so dumb.
Doesn't matter because Dillinger's out, and now Alan and Laura are up on the helipad waiting for their new CEO, and it makes zero sense. Why isn't it Alan? Alan, who actually is prim and proper and can run. No, it's Flynn, and Flynn lands, and man, he has gone straight into his cocaine phase.
I mean, why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't he? And
Yeah.
why is he? It's 1982. Why is he dressed like it's 1975? He's going to a disco to do coke. It's crazy. And he's like, "Hey man,
man.
we're taking over the world, man!"
Shout out to 80s movies for just ending.
And it
Fucking-
ends.
Here
It
we
just,
go.
it just ends. Credits hit immediately.
Tron,
Tron, everybody.
Tron, RaGu BaGu. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys here for the Tron universe, where I guess Who do we want to be the bad guy in this? It has to be Dillinger, Sark, and Master Control, MCP, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I guess the MCP is sort of the big baddie of this.
Yeah.
So we can log that. I think Sark is rad.
We got to put Sark there. Yeah.
Sark is really doing a lot of the heavy lifting here because watching this weird
He's the most
trapezoidal cartoon is
Yeah.
not scary at all.
Yeah.
But the words that, even when the trapezoidal stuff isn't on the screen, when he's like, well, I created you, I control you. He's like, no, you don't, dude. That was like whoa.
There's like, the vibes of Darth Vader, Emperor, like and Tarkin, like all that stuff. But it's like it's not quite there.
No.
And then it's like there's the Megatron Starscream type thing, but it's not quite there. So yeah, I definitely no love for these bad guys, but
we'll see how they rank against.
We'll see how they rank. I truly don't remember, so we'll see what the next movie looks like.
If you don't remember the bad guy from the next movie, boy, you're in for it.
Oh well, okay.
Boy,
well,
you're in for it, Tim.
Can't fucking wait. And then ranking the movie, obviously, Tron 1982 is currently our number 1. Will that change next week?
You see
I guarantee it.
Question from Alexander Haugdahl in the YouTube chat, who asked, did they see Ares early, or are they ranking 2 movies?
No, we're not. We will see it early, I guess. Most likely. But we are going to just review it when
next week will be Tron Legacy. And
we'll be ranking 3 movies.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets about Legacy.
Now, here's the thing. There's never been a better time to get into Tron Legacy. And mainly because, finally, Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision. Like, I don't give a shit the quality of this movie that I'm about to watch. The opening 5 minutes, maybe it's 2 minutes, are seared into my brain. And the moment you see the Disney castle and it's digitized and it's fucking awesome and the music's playing, and we see the real world. Oh my God.
The grid.
Strap in. Strap in.
Trapping indeed.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today for Tron. We have surpassed the time of the movie. Very cool.
I love that.
The day's not over. Streaming.
Yep.
Hades 2 and this
Hades
Skate.
2 and Skate. You can check that out. But until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.
I fight for Tim's users.